Hello, my name is Carl Brooks, and today we're going to be going over my final critical assignment for Ken 454, and it's on middle school shooting guards. So my population is going to be for males ages 11 to 13-year-old shooting guards. So for the most part, what I see from my population is that they are intrinsically motivated because they actually love the sport. I believe that because of their home life, they find comfort in escaping reality and entering into a world that they can control over. This population is also extrinsically motivated because the best shooting guards are superstars are put in the positions to be a clutch closer, which is a coveted title among all basketball players. These players receive high praise and congratulations for wins, as well as all the blame for missing a shot the team depends on you to make or to win the game to keep it close late. My favorite players have always been shooting guards, from Michael Jordan and then Kobe Bryant. I want to understand how these players think. So, how these players are affected by their environments, their physical environments. I believe that because of their home life or their situations, a lot of the guys in my population that I studied were in low income situations. And they basically find basketball as a place where they can just go and be themselves and have fun and not worry about the things that are going on in their lives. The social environment. At this age, the kids just love to be at home and be with somebody that shares specific events with them. So, for instance, one of the players in my population, they love the sport because their dad played it all through high school, and he's still an avid NBA fan. So, just being in that realm, that was kind of how I came to love the game as well. Because my dad was an avid Laker fan, he watched Laker games all the time, and I just kind of fell into it because that's what we watched and that's what we did. So I can see how we had that in common. The family culture for my population around ages 11 to 13, uh, they're heavily affected by their eating habits or their family culture. If you have a family culture of healthy eating, dieting, and exercise, these kids have a distinct advantage over the lower income families that don't have access to healthy, nutritious foods. Motivation, arousal, stress, anxiety, the desire to compete, and the need for feedback reinforcement. My population is also motivated by getting a scholarship. So, after all the kids that I talked to, this was pretty much the main goal. I mean, a lot of them they want to go to the NBA, and that's always the dream. But a lot of them will be just fine just going to college and playing on the college level. My population can be self aware of their arousal status and learn how to control their arousal levels, as well as use stress and anxiety by using anxiety reducing techniques like breath control at the free throw line. So, a lot of times, like when these guys feel aroused and over anxious, they're able to just go ahead and naturally breathe. I've seen a lot of this happen. Natural shooters, they just are calm. They're very calm. They come up to the line, take their deep breath, and follow through. Now, over time, a lot of players learn this, and I like to teach players this just to get their somatic anxieties levels down. But some players just do it naturally, and they don't even know why. And these seem to be those type of players. With positive feedback and reinforcement, muscle memory can be achieved, which is what we're really looking for. With proper form and a better shooting guard will result. Only the mentally tough get to this point because it takes a long time to see complete shot growth because of the amount of shots it takes to see the growth. So shooting is an art and it takes a long time to master. And even some of the people that have done it for a long time still haven't mastered it because people have different ways of teaching it. But these guys just seem to grow. They seem to have that mentality and not really care whether they make or miss, but they just find joy in actually just shooting the ball. Next up is goals. So we have two outcome goals. Our first outcome goals will be winning the league title. That will be a team goal, but overall will be a shooting guard goal as well. Because if he shoots well, then it makes the game easy for everybody. And finishing the season with a winning record. So before we can even talk about winning the league title, we definitely have to get past the point of a winning record. Now the two performance goals. Score at least 12 points per game, as well as make 6 free throws per game. Those are the two performance goals. The two process goals would be shooting 12 open shots and shooting 12 free throws per game. So with those numbers, if you really take a look, 12 shots, if you're not shooting threes, let's just say twos for the sake of math. 12 times 2 is 24. And then plus the 12 free throws would be 36. So without counting any three-pointers, you have a total of 36 points that you have capable of making. And I'm only asking you for 12 points total. So if you just do your job and you shoot when you're open, you can easily get to these goals. So the strategy to complete the population's goals. The strategy for outcome goals in games, in addition to normal practices, allow athletes extra time to practice and times to work out on weaknesses in their play. This also builds team chemistry and love for the game, as well as increases pride and intrinsic motivation. Strategy for performance goals. So every practice, in order to be dismissed from practice, you must make 25 free throws. So that way, they can see those go through the net. They get built that practice confidence, which will eventually translate into the game. Then finally, the two process goals. I designed our offense specifically so that they can give open shots to the shooting guard. And as long as he takes advantage of those open opportunities, he should have no problem reaching his goal. So with the mission statement, my mission statement comes from Isaiah 41, chapter 10, and it says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." So as an athlete, I spent a lot of time dealing with fear of failure. And I allowed that fear to cripple me into believing that I would never make it into college sports. So I didn't even try in high school, but continued to maintain good grades enough to be eligible to play the sport that I loved. Then when college came, I didn't even give myself a chance to be an athlete, although I was approached by a junior college coach to try out twice. The fear of failure would not allow me to enter the gym. Just by the way I was coached every time when I took a shot, because my shot wasn't really that good. It was definitely a weakness in my game. But I never had a coach pull me to the side and be like, let's work on this. And in the game, I wasn't allowed to shoot. So after a while, there's zero improvement in that. And that leads to lack of confidence, fear of failure, because if you decide you want to shoot, you're going against the coach's will. And whether you make or miss and he sits you down, it tears your psychological, your mind up, As a coach, I'll never want my player to feel that fear of failure that I felt as an athlete. And from that point on, I just really want to give them the opportunity to feel free, to be able to experiment, find new ways to play, and to actually love the game. So if you're open, go ahead and shoot it. If you're not a good shooter, that's okay. The same shots that I make you take in the game, I'm going to practice with you in practice. So after a while, no matter if you're a good shooter, a bad shooter, or an in-between shooter, you're going to be a good shooter by the time I'm done with you. Or you'll be a good dribbler. Or you'll be a good passer. We're not just going to tell you what not to do. We're going to tell you how to do it, when to do it, and why to do it. So what I've learned the importance of goal setting. At any time, what athletes call goals are just broad dreams that are not based on reality and are not measurable in time frame. The first step to achieving a goal is writing it down, and it triggers psychological changes and gives them smart, specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, timely, and self-determined goals. 1 to 2 goals per practice or game is enough for the athletes to process. So you don't want to over-process your athletes. You don't want to tell them, okay, I have 6 goals, I have 10 goals for you today, because they're not going to remember all that. It's too much going on in the game. It's too much that you're asking of them. So you just want to keep it simple. Also, what I learned is group dynamics. Every single player has a different personality, and those personalities work together in different ways. And if you're able to understand how these personalities work and which ones work best together, then you can build a cohesive unit and allow those team members to gel together. And it's only going to help your team chemistry and make your overall team as a whole better. So while there are no studies implicitly linking role perceptions directly with team performance, it is generally accepted that the successful execution of the individual role responsibilities will offer great opportunities for positive group outcomes. This means if the players accept their role, there is a greater chance for success. So here's my references. First is the Holy Bible. Then we go down to group dynamics. Then motivation of role and positive feedback in sports and physical education. And then finally, the foundations of sport and exercise psychology with the web study guide. Thank you. Have a blessed day.